Let's talk about dry fire. Maybe you just completed my class or one of my classes, or you paid for another professional instructor's course. And what you paid for was actually an investment into your own life and the lives of the people that you love. In order to protect your investment and continue to get better as a shooter, get better as a protector and defender of life, you want to continue to practice the skills that you learned during training. In this video, I'm gonna give you a few tips as to how to structure your dry fire. We're gonna do, most important step is we're gonna separate our live ammo in one room, and we are going to move to wherever you're gonna be doing your dry fire. So let me show you what that looks like. In the room where we've got our ammo, we're going to get a good draw repetition if we're working from concealment. If we just took like a defensive carry class. But we can work any of the skills that we learned in the class that we just took. So use this as a good opportunity to get a draw repetition. So I'm gonna move, access grip, pull, rotate, join, extend. And now from here, I'm going to make a safe and empty pistol. Eject the magazine, source of ammunition, set that aside. And then from here, I'm going to lock the slide back to the rear. So I'm going to lock it back to the rear, observe that the round comes here. I'm going to visually and physically confirm that the weapon is not loaded. So looking into the chamber, looking into the mag well, feel for both, look away and do it a second time. Look, feel, let the slide go home, and then I'm going to holster it back up. Just make sure that I've got no more sources of ammunition that are hiding. Pretend with me that we walked back into the room where we've got our dry fire target, and we are gonna start our dry fire practice. What I wanna work on is the steps of the draw. So I'm going to start with my timer, and I'm gonna set it for 5 minutes, which is what I typically dry fire for each night. In Paladin Tower Tactics, we teach 3 stages of the draw with multiple steps in between each stage. I'm going to move, access grip, pull, rotate, join, extend, and fire. Slack out, sight, now I can press. Good, clean, press all the way through. Okay, once I hear the click instead of the bang, that tells me that I had a malfunction. It's the loudest sound of the gunfight, so I'm going to slap as if there was a magazine in the gun, and then I'm gonna come over the top, rack it, and come back out on target. So whatever skill that you learned in class, you can practice. That's why it's really important to take notes while you're in professional training. Basically learn to get to the wall of the trigger every single time, and then pressing the trigger at speed without moving the gun. Most important skill that you can do, right? So practice getting to the wall. I'm at the wall, off, wall, off, wall, off. I can work from a low ready position, or I can work from a compressed ready position, or I can work from the draw. But each time I'm gonna practice getting to the wall, slack out, sight, press. So that is working with the handgun. Let's talk about working with the rifle. Lock the bolt back to the rear, and I'm going to visually and physically look to make sure that there is nothing in the weapon. Empty magazines to work with my rifle, because I think the biggest skill that students who have come to take a rifle class need to improve on is their weapons manipulation. We can work all the basics as far as like the low ready, going from low ready up on target, or high ready up on target. Whatever you want to do, you can work practicing with your sling. All these things pertain to weapons manipulation. Let's say I want to work for my low ready stuff. I'm gonna get a good aggressive stance. This is a great opportunity for me to check my lasers, my lights, and my sights. So from here, I'm in this good aggressive stance. I'm gonna snap the weapon up to my eyes. I'm not gonna lower my eyes down to the weapon. So it comes up, safety comes off, slack out, sight, press. Bring the weapon up, weapon off safe, slack out, sight, press. What I like to do is I like to just come right back to the high ready position, and then I'm gonna line up the gun and work my, my high ready repetition. I'm gonna go tip of the muzzle, flat of the rail, sight, weapon off safe, slack out, sight, press. Get familiar with using the rifle. So the biggest thing that I see is folks get out and it's their first time, nothing against them, it's the first time running a rifle, and they look like a newborn baby deer as they're trying to manipulate this weapon, which is okay. But dry fire is going to solve that. So I'm going to rack this thing back. So I'm going to start with the chamber open, and I'm going to just work my reloads. This is not so that I can work like a one reload one. It's simply to get me used to weapons manipulation and visual acuity, seeing what I need to see in the process of making my hit after it's been disrupted by a reload or a malfunction, okay? We start from a low ready position. I'm gonna bring the weapon up on target, attempt to fire. I've got nothing. So from here, that tells me the bolt is locked back to the rear. I'm gonna start my procedure. Safety comes off, check the magazine, find that next magazine, insert, thumb comes extended, run it back out to the rail, weapon comes off safe, press the trigger. If you had a pistol and like a duty rig type thing, you can work your check drills, you can work whatever you want as far as like rifle to pistol transitions or whatever you learned in class. Here's the most important part. Now that we're done with our dry fire training, what we're gonna do is we are going to walk back into our room that has the ammo. I'm gonna get a good draw repetition with my handgun, or if I'm stowing my home defense rifle, I'm basically gonna work this thing back into my high ready position to reload it. Move, access grip, pull, rotate, join, extend. And now from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to say out loud, it may seem silly, but there's a reason for it. I'm gonna say out loud, dry fire practice is over, live rounds are entering the pistol. Insert the magazine, tug on it, rack the slide. Say it again a second time, dry fire practice is over, live rounds are in the pistol. If you want to press check it, you can go and do so. Make sure the slide is forward. And then from here, I'm going to reverse the steps of the draw. So I'm going to bring it back into that compressed ready position, look the gun into the holster. And then from here, I'm going to say a third time when the gun is in the holster, dry fire practice is over, live rounds are in the pistol. My wife loves that when I say it out loud 3 times, really, really loud, as we are winding down for the evening. That is letting yourself know that, hey brain, I am not in dry fire mode anymore. I am now live with ammunition. And that is an intentional step that I personally take and I teach my students to take to make sure that there's not an accident while you're dry firing, so that you don't get hurt or someone else doesn't get hurt. Or at the very least, you don't get embarrassed for sending around through like a mirror or something else like that, okay? So hopefully you have found this video to be useful. If you want to take some training, check me out at paladintowertactics.com, and hopefully I'll see you on the range. Be safe and God bless you.